Welcome back. Turning back to the Middle East and the reaction after Hamas announced yesterday that it was agreeing to a ceasefire framework brokered by the Qatari and Egyptian negotiators. Today, Prime Minister Netanyahu said that announcement was an attempt by Hamas to, quote, sabotage Israel's planned military offensive into Rafah. And joining me now is Ambassador Dennis Ross, former special assistant to President Obama and an NBC News foreign affairs analyst. Ambassador, thank you so much for joining us. And as we've reported, one of the key sticking points is whether the hostages released would be alive or dead. How significant of a hurdle is that to reaching a deal?
Well, it's a very fair point because the Israelis in the proposal they had accepted had reduced the number of hostages who were to be released from 40 to 33. They understood that would be 33 alive hostages. The Hamas counterproposal, which is really what it is, came back and said the 33 would be alive and dead without a breakdown of how many would be alive. Obviously, that leaves some room for discussion, but it's a pretty significant change from an Israeli standpoint. The aim here to be doing a deal at all is to get hostages back alive. They want to, in the end, they want to get all the bodies back for those who are not alive, but they certainly, the whole idea is to get the hostages released and to have them recovered alive. So that's one of the big differences, I think, in this counterproposal. There's some others as well. Yeah. Hamas was saying they would release the hostages only 3 every 7 days. The proposal Israel had accepted was 3 hostages released every 3 days. Another one was that the Israelis would be able to, they would have a veto over some of the Palestinian prisoners who would be released in return. Hamas was saying no veto over any prisoners. So there's a series of different positions that Hamas was responding with.
And I want to go back to that point, though. It's a heartbreaking discussion to have, isn't it? Is that a point Israel should concede on? Are some living hostages better than none? Is getting back some of those hostages, better than nothing at this point, Ambassador?
Well, I think the question becomes, is there negotiating room here? There's a series of different issues. This is obviously the most prominent one, but not the only one. And you have the U.S. trying to broker this along with the Egyptians and the Qataris. There should be an effort to see if you can bridge the differences. Look, I think the Israelis want to get back any hostages they can get alive right now, but they're not going to consistently be in a position where they accept one set of proposals. By the way, when they accepted this position, you had Secretary Blinken say the Israeli position was extraordinarily generous. Now, what they're facing is a position that has them get less than what they were prepared to accept. So it does look like it's a negotiation. And I think from the Israeli standpoint, certainly from the standpoint of the families, they want them all out. They want them all out now. And they're prepared, from their standpoint, to say, do whatever it takes to get them. It's pretty clear that Prime Minister Netanyahu has limits on what he's prepared to accept.
Ambassador, today the White House said that it was confident that there was a possibility here that the gaps could be closed in these negotiations. John Kirby seemed at least optimistic that that could happen. But what about if Hamas is asking to stay in power in some form? Israel has repeatedly said that is not acceptable. Is Israel ever going to go for that?
I'm not sure Israel's going to go for that. Honestly, I'm not sure that we will go for that. I don't think the American position is that Hamas should be in power when this is over. But there are a variety of ways to produce that as an outcome. First, what's the most important objective? The most important objective is the demilitarization of Gaza so that Gaza can never again be a platform for attacks. Secondly, Hamas can't be in control. In a sense, what you could do is you could basically we could develop mechanisms that would make sure there could be no remilitarization. And any reconstruction, by the way, reconstruction is one element of the proposal. Any reconstruction would be conditioned on Hamas cannot be in power because there'll be nobody who's prepared to invest in Gaza if Hamas remains in power, knowing they would do this again.
And Ambassador, we also learned, according to NBC News reporting, citing 2 senior administration officials, that last week the White House halted a shipment of offensive weapons to Israel. I maintain it's not a shift in policy, but what do you make of that move by the Biden administration? And do you view it as a change in policy?
I'm not sure it is a change in policy if, in fact, it's a very deliberate effort if it is, I'll put it this way, if it's a very deliberate effort to stop the resupply of the Israelis, then it's a change in policy. I do think it may be caught up in a combination of logistic considerations, because there are some challenges we're facing, but also there is the question of this Israeli unit that we found to be engaging in excessive behavior. That was the language I think that was used. And we were talking about possibly sanctioning this particular Israeli unit in the West Bank. I just wonder whether or not what has been reported is caught up and is connected somehow to that, where you'll actually end up with an announcement that we are going ahead with resupply of Israel, but there is this unit that will not be receiving, will not be eligible to receive any material support from the U.S.
Ambassador Dennis Ross, thank you so much for your expertise. We really appreciate it.
Thanks for watching. Stay updated about breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or follow us on social media.